regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority meeting at June 17th at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Colner.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Dilbeck.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
White.
Here.
Morrell.
Here.
Wines.
Here.
Strunk.
Here. I do declare a quorum this evening. The invocation will be by Russ Meacham.
Let's pray. Father, we come before you this evening because you are the great and the almighty. You are the giver of life and you are the giver of our democracy that we have. And dear Lord, as we meet together this evening, we ask that you bless this council with wisdom, that you bless them with discernment, that the decisions they make and the actions that they take will be those that move this community forward and continue to benefit the citizens here. Dear Lord, in all things, we want to give you the glory, we want to give you the honor, and we want to give you the praise. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Russ. Item number 1 is the consent agenda you have before you. Item A is also on there.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call, please.
Colner.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Strunk.
Yes, thank you. Comments from those assembled about items pertaining to the PMA. Seeing none, we'll move to item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. None? Item 6, presentation by Tom Ryder, General Manager of MISO, to the City of Perry, the Perry Municipal Authority for its perfect safety record in 2018. Tom, would you got a presentation you'd like to make?
I would, thank you.
All right, turn it over to you.
First and foremost, I apologize for walking in the middle of the meeting.
It was perfect, actually.
It actually did work out pretty good, but coming out of Edmond, it usually takes me 45 minutes to get here, so if I leave at 5 o'clock, I got an extra half hour to make sure I'm good. I left at 5 o'clock and I'm just now getting here. It's one of those days. So,
Hi, Tom.
hi Brian,
How are you, sir?
I'm well, how about you?
I'm good.
You going up?
You want me to come up now, or you want to make a spiel?
I don't know about the spiel part, I mean,
How great you are.
that's all right. I was gonna say, the mayor did a great job just by mentioning the fact that it was a perfect safety record. And as you all know, if you deal, or ever just watch these guys work, you know, especially in some of the conditions in which they have to work, to come away after a full year of work without any injuries, without any reportable things, and those of you who have to deal with OSHA, you know that sometimes if you cross your eyes, you have to report it. So it's that kind of deal, and it's a huge deal for us. We give out 2 awards. We give out the Reliability Award, and we give out the Safety Award. The Reliability Award is great for the citizens. The Safety Award is big to us.
I didn't get it this year.
I was not going to rub it in, but yes, you did this year. But you did do very well, your whole department did, so I want to congratulate you on a perfect safety
I
year.
appreciate it.
So, yeah, I want you to hold it.
Sure. Just say hold
Tilt
it
it
up.
forward from the top, just great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. Appreciate you. This is one of the best parts of my job, especially when it's this kind of award, because the guys really do prove themselves time and time again, and I hope you truly appreciate them and the efforts and all that they do to provide for the city. So, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you taking a couple, 2 or 3 hours out of your time, driving conditions to come up here and make that presentation. And we're really proud of you guys. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 7. Consider approval of resolution number 2019-01 for the chairman and the board of trustees of the Perry Municipal Authority approving its FY 2019-2020 budget and appropriating the revenues for the stated purposes as contained in the budget, directing the chief financial officer, trust manager, and secretary to take any and all additional actions as may be required for the implement of this budget. Okay, we want to recess the PMA at this time and go into the City of Perry meeting. And that way we can discuss the budget over there, and then we'll come back and take action on this item. So if I have a motion to recess,
Motion to recess. Second.
roll call, please.
Colner.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Lyons.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting, of the City Council of the City of Perry on June 17th, 2019 at 6:20. Roll call, please.
Colner.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Dilbeck.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
White.
Here.
Morrow.
Here.
Lyons.
Here.
Stroller.
Here, thank you. Item number one, the consent agenda. There's 4 items listed for you this evening.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Colner.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Lyons.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city council agenda. Seeing none, item 5, proclamations, accommodation reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Seeing none, we will move on to the city manager's report. Larry?
Thank you, sir. Make this real fast. Rehab of 600 block of Grove is going well. Especially after several delays right at the very beginning. They just started, it started raining, had stopped. They come back and then they hit what looks like a gas line. So they stopped for a couple of days until the gas company decided that it was a vacant line and they could proceed. So other than that, they've been moving along pretty good. Today, and I'll ask Bryce and Russ to jump in on this if they would like, we met with the fire and police union representatives to work on the union negotiation for this upcoming year. I think that we're probably 95% close. We have a little wording to talk about and work on, but other than that, I think it's going well. I always like negotiations that are cordial and have the best interests of the city and the residents in hand, so I really think that. So you guys want to jump in on anything? If not, I'm done.
No, we just agree. They have to take it back to their folks, but for approval. But we're hoping that we can bring contracts to you on July 1st and get both those done at that point.
Good. Item 7, Chief Financial Officer's report.
Well, in keeping with Larry's idea of let's make this short, I really am going to keep mine short too. We've got budgets to talk about, we've got amendments to talk about, but we are now rolling up through 11 months of our 12 months of the year. So at this point, it's getting a whole lot easier to predict what's going to happen at the end of the game, which, you know, is always the fun part of accounting. It's never looking back and always tell you what happened in the past. It's trying to look forward and tell you where we're going to be and what's going to happen. Those of you, as you're looking, you know, we should be 92% of our budget. If you're looking at those budget percentages in the far right columns of the numbers. One number that I will tell you is our sales tax for the month of June, that got deposited this month, which you won't see on this report, was exactly, it was within $500 of what we deposited last June. So I told you we'd had these trailing months, the last couple of months, where I was worried about sales tax. It had been down, it had been down. We had a nice rebound this last month. So we're back, we'll be effectively about 1.5% down for the year whenever we finish. We've always budget conservative sales tax, so we always budget that at 90% or 85% like we did last year. So you will see when we get to the amendments, we have some additional sales tax that we get to recognize this year as far as those go. But overall, you know, our percentages and where we're setting is looking good from the financial standpoint. We were up also in hotel motel tax collections for the month, up to about 16,000. Still our number's 18 that we want to look at, but we were up to 16,000 there. As far as expenses go, we've done a really good job, the department heads and Larry, in keeping our overall expenses down. I'm not gonna brag on the one department that I bragged on one time, and he turns around the next month and makes me look horrible. But even that department is doing well, this month, so.
Can you just, give us initials or something?
Can I give you initials? Yeah. Watch out for the taser, because you think it's a taser, it's really, he's just gonna come and go spend more money next month if you're not careful. So even from that standpoint, we're looking good on this year's budget. As far as the municipal authority goes, when you look at those dollars, we're coming up. Our electric sales and our water sales, probably due to temperatures, we haven't had those super hot days in May like we have some years. Even the first half of June, with the cloud cover and the rain that we've had, we're gonna hurt on our two utility revenues and actually making our budget. Now, the nice side of most of that is we've already taken care of the electric. Our wholesale electric cost is going to be down, so net, it's not like we're gonna lose a major profit margin. You'll see some adjustments in the amendments, if you guys read through those. But overall, whenever you look at it, water, we're not gonna sell as much water in June as traditionally we've sold. Sorry, nobody's turning on a water faucet because they don't want any more water on their yard. They can't probably mow it as it is, and the flowers have all been watered, so we're not gonna see the water revenues, nor the electric revenues, probably at where we had seen in historical numbers. But we're still gonna end up okay overall as far as operations. That is really what I have in summation. We're gonna finish out the year within our budget. Matter of fact, the budget amendments are gonna give us some net increase in the general fund, and PMA is also gonna have pretty much break-even changes on those budget amendments whenever I get to that in 2 or 3 items. So I think we're good for the rest of FY19, and it's on to FY20, guys.
Any questions for us? Seeing none, we'll go to item 8. Consider approval for Gary May and Tom Mack to conduct a firework display at the Perry Lake on July 4th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Huh?
Said motion to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I thought you was asking a question. I go, oh, Dixie said something. I think you said something. I'm like, what?
Sorry.
It's all right.
Second.
We get a second?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Colner.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item number 9, consider approval of resolution number 2019-03 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, providing for its FYI 2019-2020 budget and other budgets, and appropriating the revenue for the stated purpose as contained in the budgets, directing the Chief Financial Officer, City Manager, and City Clerk to take any and all additional actions as may be required for implementation of the budget. Larry, you want to talk about the budget?
We spoke at this special meeting Friday night. Hopefully you had the opportunity to look through the budget. Were there any questions that you may have? We really don't have any changes other than that.
I've got one. I just got this one, so I don't know if it was in there or not, but in that previous one we had, it was Main Street was 15,000, but later on we've got 20,000 approval. Has that been corrected in the budget as well?
I think,
Main Street in the budget is 15,000. So that should be,
In this item, we'll correct that.
yeah, we'll correct that. But it is 20 for the chamber, 15 for Main Street, and 10 for the museum. Now, we did not budget anything for the museum this current fiscal year. But I did put that back in for your consideration. We think it's a great tourist attraction, especially when you see all the buses and young folks come and tour that facility. I do think we have room for it this year. We did put that in the budget, 20, 15, and 10.
What was the reason for lowering to 15?
They have some consulting help right now in the form of Ron Drake, and I think that helps a little bit. So being under the constraints that we had for this year, I did bring that back. Certainly won't fight if you'd like to raise it back to 20, but that's the way that we put the budget, or I put the budget together.
What do you say about it?
That's your all's call. Right now, the ED money, the hotel motel tax money that we're collecting is going 100% to pay the debt. So any amounts that you all are giving to Chamber, to Main Street, for the museum, for any tourism piece altogether, all of those are coming out of sales tax. So in the past, we'd always had excess money in hotel motel, and that's why we were spending these down. Right now, we're having to pay it out of operations instead of out of a dedicated sales tax.
I do think all three organizations do need some kind of assistance from the city. And what level? I put it together as 2015 and 10.
Have any of them come with a plan or what they'd like to do or need to do in the next fiscal year?
I have not seen that yet from any of them.
No, the museum's lost most of its funding from the state, so it's almost completely run now by donations and stuff, like all their lawn care, stuff like that. They have to provide by themselves, so.
Utilities, I remember, yeah.
And one of the reasons why we did not fund it in this current fiscal year is because the state hadn't decided exactly what they were gonna do. They were in flux. They're gonna appoint somebody, then they're not, and then, I just didn't feel that for this, at that particular time when we put the budget together, that was something we wanted to spend $10,000 on. Things have leveled out now. I think they have their own solid foundation going forward, and I think that it's time to put that back.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but we didn't fund them but maybe a year or two anyway, did we, Russ? Do you remember? The museum?
1 year.
1 year, yeah, 1 year is all we funded them.
Russ, do you have the two numbers to put into the resolution? Total appropriations and total resources?
Yeah. Total appropriations will be $15,610,148. And total resources, provided in the current year, are $14,745,047.
$14,745,047.
047.
So that's actually the first number
Yes.
in the resolution, and the second is the second.
What would you guys like to do with the item number 9,
I
the
would-
budget?
Sorry, I would like to make a motion that we accept the budget with the 20,000 for Main Street instead of 15.
Would you, is there a second, or we need to do any discussion?
I guess I have a couple more
No,
questions.
go right
That's
ahead,
what I-
that's what we're here for.
But without knowing where they're gonna spend their money, or even with the school, knowing how much utilities cost, or any of those things, I mean, as a first timer, I think I'd like to hear from them on what they plan to do with it. I mean, if Main Street needs 25,000 and Chamber only needs 15 or 10 or whatever, I mean, is there not?
They're not gonna say that, trust me.
But if they have
You
to
can never
at least
trust me on
disclose
anything,
what they're
that's
gonna
it.
use with their plans, our goal is to try to drive tourism to our city. And so it would be nice to hear from them how they plan on doing that. The school is great, and I know that it brings a lot of people in, but they also could come into the school and then they turn around and go right back out. You know, most of them bring their sack lunch and they're enjoying Perry and they get to come and see us, but it would be nice to know how any of these groups plan on actually bringing tourism to Perry, to know how we spend our money and where it's best fit.
They're also bringing in that blacksmith group now, a couple times a month, so that's usually an all-day event, has about 30 or 40 people just in that group that are coming into our town, spending money here. They usually get about 30, 40 more people from around the community coming in and spending money, so they're definitely on top of things, trying to do more.
Do you get sales tax from the gift shop? Sure. And what is the chamber, what's their plans or for the Main Street this year or next year to bring in? Do we know, I mean, I don't know what we would be cutting from them and what they had planned if we just take $5,000 from them without talking to them. What if that was something that would have really driven something here that?
From who?
From Main Street?
Oh.
We can ask for them to make that presentation.
I
We,
think it'd be nice to hear from them on what they plan on doing with this money to see if we feel like it's a good fit or not.
at one time, the max I can remember, Russ, you probably have to help me, but I remember we funded them at 36,000 was the max that we've ever been at. So we've cut them both by $16,000.
I believe that was right before Walmart.
Yeah.
In that budget year, right before Walmart left, and then after that it was 20.
Yeah, well, we cut them to 30, and then last year I think we cut them to 20.
And before
If I
that,
remember
the
right.
chamber was in the 50s, 60s. That's when they were doing economic development.
Yeah, they had an economic development
When
contract
they were,
with us.
when they were doing that. So it's been higher, it's been lower.
I think they're
I,
all doing great things for us. It'd just be nice to hear from them before we.
Well, and you have, there is contracts on here next for those, and so even if we appropriate the money here, and we do not have, we can't pay it out until you guys approve those contracts, so I think the place maybe, we can leave a placeholder in the budget, so that
Okay.
whenever you get to the contracts, you can approve the contract, or tonight you can say, hey, nobody's here to talk about this, I'm not gonna approve the contract tonight, let's push this until they have a representative here. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Get them here to answer your questions, but we will at least have a placeholder for those dollar amounts whenever it comes time for you to award that contract or revise the contract, you know, at the next meeting. And then, i.e., if you make that change, let's go ahead and, if we do Derek's change tonight and add the 5,000 and put 20,000 in there for both, that's the budget you approve, then we can come back, if you decide that it's 15 that you're gonna give them, we can amend the budget at that point. But this would give you the most money by putting another 5 in there to be available whenever you go to award that contract.
and I personally think it's a great idea, because we have 5 new members on the council that has never heard from Main Street or Chamber. Now, it's always been my belief that Chamber of Commerce should stand on membership, but it can't here in Perry. There's just not enough membership to make them function.
Right.
So our giving to them really helps them put on the car show here and the 16th celebration and things like that. But I would rather that come from Noel and Caleb. Come from them to tell you guys and explain to you and answer the questions for you new council members. I think it's a great idea.
Can I add to what you just said?
Yes, sir.
Last year at the planning session, we had them in the room for a period of that, and I would encourage that we, with a brand new council, that we try and do that quickly and have that same thing.
Type 4,
Yeah.
Now then, Russ just made a statement in here that we do have contracts for Main Street and for Chamber, but we do not have any kind of contract for the museum. So was your motion to up 5,000 and leave the museum? You wanna leave the museum where it's at? I'm not telling you to go either way, I'm just
No,
making
no.
sure that 5,000 has gotta come from
'Cause
somewhere.
I did have another question about my motion too, is do I need to say, you already said where it's gonna come from, but do I need to put that in the motion? No? Okay. Yeah, that we, I'll amend my motion to say 20 for Main Street and that we, I guess, get a contract with Cherokee Strip Museum as well.
But you want to leave the 10,000 in?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to appropriate, I want to leave it appropriate, yes.
A second.
Any further discussion?
Is that?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what we're voting on, right?
And we're sticking those numbers that Russ said into the resolution.
Yep. All good. All right, roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dillbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item number 10, consider approval of budget amendments for FYI 2018-2019. It'll be behind tab number 10. No?
Or they would be in your handout then.
Oh, yeah, right here, I'm sorry.
In light of everything else that went on last week, you guys got these handed out today, and I apologize for them being late to you. There is nothing in these amendments that you all have not already seen or approved well, maybe the new council weren't part of seeing or approving those. All of these are bigger pieces. The biggest piece really is the net increase to the general fund of about $250,000. Net and all of that, that is the closing on the sale of the Vance building. That, if you break all of these numbers down, that's what you're gonna find out, is the reason we're up. Yes, we have some increased sales tax, we've also had some increased expenditures in various departments along the way. So general fund net increase of $249,000. The PMA, no change in fund balance running through there. And then you can see the cemetery, the limited purpose sales tax, and the street sales tax fund. Again, remember, kind of as I mentioned in the past, the cemetery fund, the limited purpose sales tax, and the street sales tax funds, all of those are restricted revenues. Our goal at the end of the day is we will spend every dollar that's in those on that purpose. It's not like we make a whole lot of money in there and we have sustainable operations, that we have to take care of. So all in all, that's the budget amendments. You can run through and look at all the fund columns and everything that happens dollar by dollar. That's why we give you all the detail. But this budget memo on the top kind of summarizes that. Be happy to answer any specific questions you guys have, to the extent I can. Don't ask me, what
If you
the third
can't,
check.
nobody can.
Well, no, I'm saying, don't ask me what the third check written to such and such was in the month of June. I don't have that.
I'd hate to have to call
Off
Dixie to give it back.
Off the top of my head. Dixie would know what that answer is. I don't know who we wrote our third check to this month, so.
Motion on the amendments?
Motion to approve the budget amendments as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Oral.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item number 11, consider approval of a resolution number 2019-04 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma City, approving the city's group health insurance plan, namely with Stillwater Collaborative Care Plan, appropriating $1,025,175.96 as the maximum limit for the plan, appropriating $62,000 to be used to fund the healthcare reserve formerly expended for the worksite benefit plan, authorizing the standard to provide $10,000 term life insurance policy for the employees, establishing the rate to be paid by members of the plan, providing for such changes shall be effective on July 1st, 2019, authorizing the cafeteria plan, including the medical and/or dependent care flexibility spending account effective July 1st, 2019, approving the Freights benefit administrators as third-party administrators. This is who wants to handle this? Bryce? Russ?
Well, this is our health insurance plan. We've had them for a year. This is the one that's in collaboration with Stillwater. It drives employees to use not only Perry's Hospital, but Stillwater's Hospital as a first tier benefit. We've had, a little, some problems with Frady's that we think that we've gotten them worked out. We have met with them. The policy only went, or the plan only went up 4%. Blackwell's went up 85%. And if you can imagine, so they're not paying any part of their spouse or family insurance for their employees up there because of that would happen. I mean, this is a very small increase. I would say, honestly, that this needs to perform this year. We need to have better results with this, but that's what I'd say.
Administratively.
Administratively.
Plan's fine.
I think the plan is fine, and I think the benefits for the employees, at least the pieces that I've heard on feedback, have not been negative. We've got some administrative side that needs to get worked out.
And this does have some upside to us because it's got a self-insured component. It's got the potential of allowing us to set aside a reserve that we can use in the future when we get these kind of increases. So it's new and it's interesting, and we're recommending another year of it. And there's a whole reinsurance component in it to protect our employees, to make sure that their claims will be paid. And we have spoken to both police and fire about them absorbing the $15 per month additional family coverage, which comes with the increase, and we pretty much heard. I mean, we deferred this the last time because we weren't quite sure how it'd be taken, but I think we're okay in passing it this time.
Any more further discussion?
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 2019-04 and the pricing proposal.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Caldern.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stillback. Yes. Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines. Yes. Strawn.
Yes. Item number 12, consider approval of certain city contracts and resolution. Item A and item B are the two that we decided we weren't going to vote on this evening. So can we lump them together, make one motion, Bryce, to?
If you want to, I think they relate to one another. Well, actually, one's Perry Chamber of Commerce and the other one's Main Street, so let's handle them separately.
Okay, we want to make motions table A and B, please.
Actually, it would be A, B, and C.
All right, A, B, and C.
Separate.
Yeah, I would do A separate and then do B and C together. Those relate to the same topic.
Motion on A.
Any further discussion?
Did you make a motion?
Yes, he did.
Motion A. To table.
To table, yeah.
Let me be clear.
Roll call, please.
Caldern.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stillback.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Strawn.
Yes. Okay. Motion to table B and C, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Caldern.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Stillback.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Strawn.
Yes. Thank
We
you.
will put those on your next agenda and ask them to be present.
Thank you, Greg. Item D, consider approval of a contract for services with David Payne as consultant to the Perry Planning Commission. Up to this point, you can read in the descriptions, for years and years and years, David has been that consultant for $100 a month. He does way more than $100 a month worth of work. So this year, we've decided to appropriate a $100 raise. We give him a 50% raise, or 100% raise for $200. So we need a motion on that.
If I may, I do attest to your hard work and fast response of things I need ad hoc sometimes. You're just a blessing to work with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get you to tell us a little bit about what he does do for the city?
He's the advisor to the planning commission. He's also the guy that runs our CAD.
For mapping.
For mapping. He has great institutional knowledge of how things have worked from having sit in the same chair that I sit in twice. And he just helps us kind of put the things together, especially when we are asked some questions from those that would like to come into Perry and start a building, make a development. whether it be water lines, sewer lines, storm water, whichever way it goes. So he's a great resource for us. It certainly makes my job a lot easier. Just call up David and say, this is what I need, this is what the developers are asking for, and he'll handle that for us, so,
And local institutional knowledge.
yeah.
I don't know that.
I've called him several times and had planning commission questions. And, you know, the proper avenue is to go to the planning commission, but it's just easier to call David. And he always has the right answer for everything, so.
And he's guiding us, the planning commission, through a redo of the comprehensive plan that we started
Yes.
two sessions ago. So that's helpful.
This will be the third go-round on the comprehensive plan. And first one was 30-some years ago. I was involved in that one also.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item E, consider approval of a contract for services with the Senior Citizens Incorporated.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item F, consider approval of agreement with Northern Oklahoma Development Authority doing business as Cherokee Strip Transit.
Excuse me, motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item G, consider approval of contract for services and lease agreement with the Weedheart Nutrition Program Incorporated.
Motion to approve.
This hasn't changed at all, right? It's the same, I think?
Same.
What was that?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Yes.
Ahern. Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 13, consider approval of ordinance number 2019-12 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 18, Section 17-413B3 of the Perry Municipal Code of 2018 supplement by the addition of a cost-sharing arrangement between the city and the building owners regarding the installation of fire lines and the facilities within the street and the sidewalk right-of-way of the building located herein and fronting the square to access and provide water for the private water hydrant or fire sprinkler system when such hydrants and systems are required by building permit or code provisions, providing for repeal or savings codification, severability, and declaring emergency. Mr. Larry?
When small cities are seeking to develop, especially downtown, sometimes the property owner needs our help in certain ways. Certainly, we're not gonna get on their property and do any kind of work like this, but in an effort to help and spur development downtown, sometimes cities have to step in. And in this particular project, it's where we would make a saw cut from the building, from the outside of the building, down to the middle of the street where we tap on, open that up, let the fire suppression company do their work, test, get to the point where they're satisfied that they can that their installation will provide reliable service to the property owner. and then we'll come back and cover it up. So we're not gonna take any kind of liability for the fire suppression installation nor testing. We're just gonna simply do what we've done before, which is to open something up, in this particular case, a water tap, and let the private developer go in. And to be real honest, I've been in places large and small where there is a definite fine line between the city helping and not helping. And I've been in cities where 20,000, 25,000, and 3,000. And when that fine line is there, nothing happens. So this is an effort to help in the best way we possibly can. So we put that out there for your consideration.
Larry and I had a lot of discussion the last week about this, or week and a half, about what we should do, what we can do, and what we can't do. And I fully support us doing this, because I myself, with the work that we've, and this is just in the downtown square, okay, this isn't anywhere else other than the square. I don't want some contractor to come in and tear out our sidewalks that we paid so much for and worked so hard to get our downtown square looking the way it is. And also, I don't particularly want them to destroy our brick area and our curbs. And so we come to the agreement that we'll cut out the asphalt. And I talked to Vernon, and they will tunnel underneath the curb. They won't have to cut out the curbs. And then our crews will put all that back. We'll put the concrete back. That way we're assured that the concrete goes back just the way we want it. And I think it's a positive thing for us.
There is a blank in the ordinance. I didn't have that when I wrote it. Larry, what are you thinking the maximum cash deposit that we would charge?
$500.
What was that again, sorry?
$500.
Motion to approve ordinance number 2019-12.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for this ordinance. Is there any discussion, pros or cons? Everybody happy? Seeing none, roll call please.
Coldern.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck. Yes. Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines. Yes. Stroller.
Yes, thank you, council. Item 14. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Motion on the emergency.
Motion.
Thank you, DC.
Second.
Coldern.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines. Yes. Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Item 14, declare 20 Glock pistols and 16 Mossberg shotguns surplus, no longer necessary for the municipal purpose, and authorize trading the weapons to GT Distributors Incorporated, and authorize the purchase of 17 Glock Model 17 Gen and 5 Remington 5077 870 express pump shotguns for a net anticipated credit to the city of $912.60. All right. I'll let whoever wants to handle this, but I gotta give kudos to Brian. This guy never brought his money back.
He's a work in
I'm
progress.
so impressed.
Okay? He's a work in progress.
Now, you set the standard.
I'm a wheeler dealer if you don't know me. So. Basically, long story short, back in 2007, we had SIG pistols and we kept having malfunctions, and y'all remember the late Butch Hepler, great man. He came in and bought our guns for us. He bought the SIGs, and the SIGs were not working well, so we went to Glock, and it was an even trade then. Our Glocks that we currently carry are 40 caliber They're a Gen 3 model. So we've had these guns since 2007. Captain McElvain is our armor. Every year he gets every one of our weapons, services them, makes sure our firing pins are good, so they're in great shape. And if you look at statistics right now, the FBI and 90% of your police departments are going to 9mm just for they've really changed, and they're easier to qualify with. The power's great, and also it saves us almost half on ammunition when we go to buy, since it's a smaller caliber. So with this and our shotguns, you remember we had a council meeting, I brought it in one day because we got a $10,000 grant, we bought these new shotguns. Police departments are kind of getting rid of shotguns these days. They're kind of, rifles are the way the world is and what we need firepower for. So half the department still wants shotguns. So with this trade, we can get rid of the ones that we don't use and nobody can qualify with them. That's a long story. So we can get rid of these, get 5 brand new shotguns. That way it gives officers that do want to carry a shotgun can do a checkout at shift, bring it back in. They got a brand new weapon and everybody has a brand new handgun. And they're the Gen 5, so these are the newer Glocks, and I just think it's time to upgrade our weapons and have new ones. You know, we hope we never have to use them, but we do want them to work when we do have to use them. So we just want to trade in, and the credit that we can get, I think we can use that with GT to upgrade some ammo as well. So it's a pretty neat deal. It's not costing us a dime to do this. We're all getting brand new guns.
Now, the reason why we didn't qualify on shotguns is not because we're bad shots.
No.
But just because of the equipment.
When you grab a shotgun in the heat of the moment, every person that's ever shot a gun, you're going to aim at your target. And what's sad with these shotguns, they're not bead sight, they're a fixed sight, and every officer would have to remember, if I'm pointing that weapon, okay, I got to go 2 foot high to hit my target. Every gun was different. It's just not safe for us to carry that. I mean, you point and shoot, you want to hit what you're shooting, and those shotguns are just bad. I mean, yeah, we could fix it for about $800 a gun to get the new sights, but it's not worth it. It's just easier to trade these in and get brand new shotguns. Any other questions, or?
When you guys go out to your range and get certified, do you use your pistol that you carry with you every day?
Yes. Yeah, every officer, that's what's fortunate about Perry. When I started in '94 in Frederick, we had to supply your own gun, your own holster, so everybody had different guns. We're uniformed, everybody has the same weapon, the same magazine, and you have to qualify with your gun. Now, officers can bring an off-duty weapon if they want to qualify with it, and that is registered through the state that they can carry that off-duty, but every officer will not wear nothing but what's issued to the city, by the city.
So if our officers are off duty, are they allowed to carry that weapon?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for him? I appreciate your due diligence.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Delbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you very much. Item 15, consider acceptance of a warranty deed from Rebecca E. Haig for certain real property located at Lot 10, Block 48, town site of North and West Perry. Larry, would you want to talk about this?
Sure. This property is located at 730 Holly. It's a property that we've been dealing with from a code enforcement standpoint for since 2017. The roof is in bad shape. When it rains really hard, the basement collects a lot of water. It's a house that needs to be fixed. If you recall, we have 2 bids to take it down of almost $20,000. And since then, we've been notified that there's a potential buyer that's looking at this property. This particular property is formerly in the Bankers Row standpoint, addition. This has been a very historical place, and we would, if there's another avenue that we can go to fix this house and keep it, I'd love to do that. So this is something that we've done before. We did last year. We took 1005 Fifth Street and sold it. David, would you like to say, you've seen this house before? I apologize for just dumping this on you real bad,
No, that's
but you have seen this house.
I haven't had an opportunity to look at the house in detail, but there are certain things that you notice just from the outside of a house, whether the foundation is secure and level or cracked, sagging. And it appears that this house could be saved. And I'd rather see it saved than just see another vacant lot. And the owner has not expressed any interest in repairing it, and agreed to turn it over to the city, let the city deal with it however they want to deal with it. And in some other cases, houses that were even in worse condition, Sharon was instrumental in finding people in town that would work with the owner, purchase the property, fix it up, put it back on the market as rentable or sellable property. This one looks like it would be one of those. Now, until we would gain actual access to it and investigate further, we really don't know. But what the city's looking at right now is spending about $20,000 to tear it down. Probably would never recoup that investment. By receiving the property, that's still the worst case scenario. Might still have to tear it down and you have a vacant lot that you would own. So this would at least give the city an opportunity to find a buyer. We had talked to the owner about doing that. The property owner just didn't believe it could be sold and really didn't have any interest in pursuing that. Would just rather get rid of it. So that's where we are. We have a signed contract where she's willing to turn it over to the city. And once it becomes city property, then we could investigate it further, see if it could be salvaged or sold to someone, turned over to someone to renovate it. It appears the biggest problem is putting a roof on it. And the deterioration of the roof has caused some structural damage that you can see from the street. How extensive that is, don't know. It just looks like a good building from walking around it. Any questions you'd have for me?
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Any further questions? I think it's a good way to go with this property at this point. We're not gonna have anything invested in it at this point, so I think it'd be a good thing for the community and for the property.
Motion to accept warranty deed.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Calderon.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dubek.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 16, authorize Evans and Associates Construction Company Incorporated to perform 2 small street repair projects at Ridgecrest and Oak Ridge in consideration of $4,977.30 each, these 2 projects. I personally have not been to Oak Ridge, but I did drive up through Ridgecrest, and that street's terrible. It's like water's got in the asphalt, it's buckling up the asphalt in people's driveways, and so.
What I passed around is 9 or different versions of pictures I took today. They're not all the same. You can definitely see where it's buckling. We would like to put this on a total rebuild list in a couple of years, but right now, it's not there. We have other things to do, but this will be a good fix right now.
And of all the phone calls I've got since I've been mayor, this one's topping the list.
This isn't anything we can do ourselves.
This is pretty bad.
And the nice thing about Evans is they're already in doing the project on Grove, so they're already in town. So there's no deployment cost or anything.
Right.
Will they be doing any base work, or will they just peel out the asphalt? Do you know what the
Peel off
cost?
the asphalt.
Just peel off the asphalt, put down new asphalt?
Yes, sir.
And how long will that last once we do that?
It's kind of hard to say, actually.
I think that's fair,
You get new asphalt and it has more oil in it, and so it will help shed the water. The problem is, on asphalt, is when the oil goes away and it gets cracks in it, and the water gets down underneath the asphalt, and that's when it goes bad. And so, now then we can patch these, and then up the street somewhere else it could go bad.
I'm also wondering if just the garbage truck weight, it looks like
I think,
maybe
I
the
think,
area
I
there.
think 75% of it's that
So that's
problem.
where it does concern a little bit that we aren't doing anything sub-level
Yeah.
to strengthen that, but,
But you can see there's cracks in every picture here.
oh, no, yeah.
And if this had been sealed decades ago, maybe, we probably wouldn't be here.
What do you want to do with 16?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kohler.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 17, consider approval of certain contracts pertaining to the collection of delinquent accounts. Item A, consider approval of the collection contract with Aberdeen Enterprises II Incorporated for the collection of municipal court fines and costs. Is this a new company that we're working with?
His court previously didn't have any collections company work for him at all. It was only if they caught that person back for another violation. And they have a lot to do like it collected. Something they've been asking for a long time.
So Dixie says we haven't had a collection agency for the courts. It's just that they get popped again, oh, you have more fines that you forgot to pay.
This is something that Judge DeBoard has asked about and has requested for a long time, she says. At least since I've been here, she's been asking for this. Last month we met, we being Dixie, myself, Nancy, the main court clerk, and then Brenda Stotts, who's our backup court clerk. Judge DeBoard is not able to make those meetings, but she is supportive of what we're trying to do. It was, I interviewed 2 companies. This one, Aberdeen Enterprises, which has a court side and also a utility side. So that's the reason why you see on B, you see a different name there. We also interviewed Purdue Brandon, which is out of Oklahoma City. They're also a Texas firm. And the consensus among the committee was that Aberdeen would be the best for both.
And this only has a year term, correct? Is that what I read?
Right. That's correct. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
So you're saying Aberdeen would be best for both, as in A and B?
Yes.
They just have different names.
They just have different
Yeah.
names because there's different rules. So Aberdeen can't do both court and utility. Sounds weird.
Bryce,
Process is the same, but that's the way it is.
does she issue warrants for people that don't show and
Religiously.
arrest warrants?
Oh, yes, not only arrest warrants, but failure to appear, which carry a $571 fine, but we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of warrants back there, and this is a good method to collect them, and just so that, what we wrote in this background is that you've already passed the 35% fee. They only get the fee, they don't get the principal. We get the principal, so, there's really, anything they collect is gonna be, they're not gonna take a portion of our principal, so.
Our outstanding part is golden. That's what will
Right.
happen.
So, and.
This guy's named Guido?
Oh, I have them in a few other communities, and they're, they're considered pretty effective. But, it's the same story that people don't want to pay, so it's affects your credit. Somebody's actually on them that this is going to affect their credit, and the money starts coming in, in parts, so. We'll see how it works, but you really have nothing out because the fees that you're paying are from that additional 35% portion that's not your principal.
Motion on A?
One more
Go ahead, I'm
question.
sorry, Derek. That's his favorite thing here lately.
One more
isn't it?
question. The hundreds of thousands of dollars, do we have an actual figure, or is it just
Hundreds of thousands.
It's, how much?
She did provide it to us whenever we started talking to this. I want to say it was somewhere between 250 and 300,000.
Yeah, 300,000 was the number that I was familiar with.
In non-reported delinquencies.
that was just courtside? Is that right?
And the 35% fee, do they get the entire 35%?
Under the contract, they get a portion of it, but, none of that really, a lot of that goes to costs, a lot of that goes to their costs, but if you look at the contracts under 17.
I think it said like something like 25.
25%, yeah, it was.
And that doesn't cover their costs, that's just for, and then the rest of the remaining 10 would go to cover costs?
Yeah, they just don't get any of our principal is what the key is, to us. They don't get our principal.
We currently have, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
No, mine's a little different, so if it's along those lines.
I just didn't see where anything else was listed besides the 25% in
Yeah.
the contract itself. So I was just curious as to where the rest of the 9.1, what happens to it?
Well, if they don't, if that's all they're collecting, then it's up to a 35% fee. They'll only take that portion of it. Because under our ordinance, we can charge up to 35% if we use a third-party vendor to go collect our fees. If they want to do it for something less, then they will do it for something less, but we still get our principal.
Right, but if they decide to take less, do we still charge the 35% when we collect?
No, they're the ones, no, none of that would come to us.
Okay.
None of
was
that
my
would come
question.
to us. It's only it's supposed to go to the collection companies.
So the full
Yes.
35 regardless, or the full 25 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
they
they-
decide to collect, will all go to the collection, and the only thing that we get back is the
We
principal.
get our principal back, yes.
Okay.
There's no part of that statute or ordinance that we adopted that we're supposed to get some benefit by way of that fee.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
What I like about it is that they're gonna go try to collect our money, but a lot of collection agencies, I think, they're not after me, thank goodness, but I think that they get a portion of whatever they collect.
Yes.
And that's what I like about this, is that their fee is on top of our money.
No, I
So
would-
we're not out anything.
I would agree.
The only negative is if we don't get the full, we still pay the percent. If we get a partial payment, we still pay the percentage, but still. Still better than nothing.
Better than what we had.
Better than nothing.
You should carry a bigger stick next time, shouldn't you? All right, have you got one more, or is that good?
I'll hold it.
Thank you, Terry. All right, consideration on item A.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Consideration on item B.
B, we already did have some collections, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
And we're just not happy with them, right?
It
Am I supposed to
probably
put-
was a contract
You-
that was done during Bonita's time,
Okay.
and, no, we haven't been really happy with them.
So the success rate has been low on
Correct.
the utility side, and we
And,
expect a higher success rate on this.
Yes. We're hoping.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 18, consider appointment to the Perry Memorial Hospital Authority. There are 3 appointments that need to be made. They're listed there. Position 3 expires in May of 2019, is to be nominated by the mayor to serve 3-year term. Position 5 expires in May of 2019, to be nominated by Ward 2 to serve 4-year term. Position 7 expires in May of 2019, to be nominated by Ward 4 to serve a 2-year term. I don't know if Ward 2 or Ward 4 has any nominations to make. The one nomination that I thought I was gonna make, I haven't heard back and haven't been able to reach them. So this probably means they don't wanna take my phone call. But anyway, so position 3, I'm not in a position to make a nomination tonight.
Is this something we can hold over until next meeting?
Yeah, I don't think it's in jeopardy, but we probably need to get it done as soon as we can.
I'll go door to door, find someone. What about Ginger?
I don't know anybody that's interested.
Does it have to be someone in that ward?
No,
Okay.
it does not. It can be anyone. Do they have to be in the, I don't remember, they have to be in the city limits, Bryce?
I think it's residents.
Okay.
I mean, I'll actually look at the deal back. I will tell you that,
We had one that wasn't, didn't we?
yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's the reason I was wondering if.
Yeah, I know, but I've had many discussions with the bond lawyers, and they feel that proximity to the beneficiary is important for a member of a trust authority. Residency is important. But I can look at the trust indenture, and we should certainly give you the list of the qualifications, so we'll do that.
It seemed like to me there was like one at large that could live, for some reason it's sticking in my mind, it could live outside the city limits, but I don't know.
I will get that for you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion to table the item number 18, please.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 19, consider approval of renewal of the FY 2019-2020 Workers' Compensation Plan renewal with OMAG and authorize payment of $188,360 by quarterly payments with the use of escrow of $4,281 towards first payment. This is something we do every year, renew this contract.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Philbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 20, consider approval of payment of $43,663.70 to Craft Rentals Construction Company for sewer reconstruction work at Delaware North 13th to 12th Street. We're actually gonna get pay some bills now.
It's actually done.
Is it? It's done? Done deal, huh? That's pretty exciting. This is kind of a long drawn out thing right here. But through the city staff, we got it accomplished.
This was the emergency that took a few months.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Philbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 21, select representative to the NOTA board. There's a list under item 21, your tab 21, basically one person from each community. Dixie tells me that this Mrs. Schultz from Billings, it's in the top up there above the list. She had this for years and years and years and years. And she finally has resigned her post. And each community gets to vote on someone off of that list, who you would like to nominate.
So we nominate one of these people.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to nominate Bill Stroller.
Second.
I'll be happy to do that, thank you. Any other suggestions or nominations? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Philbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 22, consider approval of pictometry agreement with Noble County and authorize the appropriation and payments of $7,900 in equal portions over the next 3 years. It says on there, the city manager will explain. I was gonna take this, but
I
it says
just
right
read
there.
that. And I went, oh. Go
See
ahead,
what you
Ben.
got.
Go ahead, and I'll just throw in some stuff.
No, this has been a great service for us. I don't remember how far back that we started this, but it's great for oversight of Noble County and doing measurements and lot sizes. And it's been really good for the city of Perry, and even better, a partnership with the Noble County through the commissioners. They help pay for this with us. It's just another agreement we have to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Philbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Approve agricultural lease with Kyle Haley for the Perry South Commercial Park lease agreement in the amount of $3,160. This is actually the land that's across the street south, across the highway south from Sooners Corner. Kyle's leased that for a number of years. And I believe he's the only one that put in a bid, is that correct?
It's the same amount as last year.
One thing I haven't been able to ask Bryce, I heard you mumbling around the other day about if we have some kind of stipulation in there if we were to sell that piece of property.
It's there.
Okay,
Yeah, if we have an economic development prospect, we would rebate back a portion of this lease payment, and we could, as equals to the whole, if it's 1/4 of the property, we would rebate back 1/4 of the lease payment, and we could either lease or sell it for economic development, either residential, commercial, or industrial use. That's in the lease.
okay, the question I have, and I've never asked you this, but as someone that knows something about farming, is what about crop? I mean, if this guy's put let's say $5,000 worth of money into a crop on that piece of property, it's not fair that we rebate part of his lease. Does he have a time period to harvest that crop off of there?
Well, I mean, normally you would provide for that, but the provision is found if you turn to tab 23. It's on page 3J. Or the lessor determines to use a portion of the real property for business purposes, then the lessee shall release any interest the lessee may have in and to that specific tract, and the cash rent and specific services owned by lessee to the lessor relative to the released tract shall be proportionally reduced, or such portion of the annual rental shall be repaid by the lessor to the lessee. So,
I guess with him leasing that with this agreement, he understands that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the same provision
Yeah.
that has been in there before. And since that is our economic development property, it's important to have that provision.
No, I agree.
Motion to approve the lease agreement.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Goldar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 24, consider approval of second change order to the automatic water and electric meter reading system project agreement with Utility Technology Services Incorporated, providing for an additional charge for additional cost of $11,640 for the installation of 291 water meters with credit for meters not used. Sir Kennedy?
I played with this for a while because, you know, I took the position that we didn't owe anything extra because it was a turnkey job, original contract. But, you know, I looked at it, I looked at their specs, I looked at their bid, I called some folks, and what we're really doing is we have not 291, but it's like 263, which are 1-inch lines, or excuse me, half-inch lines that come out. And they actually have to take this piece that we have and they have to change it from 1/2 and then it goes 3/4 and it does it both ways. There's two things that they have to hook in and it really wasn't contemplated at the time. Had we completely been doing our job, we would have identified that and we would have identified that as an issue. So, I called some folks and really came up with the fact that that probably was a change that wasn't anticipated, and then I negotiated down the price down to what it is now. It had been set, and I got another $6,000 taken off that. So I'm okay with this, and I think that this is fair, and I think this is in line with your original contract. And I think it'll be the only change order that you get. I mean, you got the first one where we get 5 new meters, but this isn't like a lot of them where we get a bunch of change orders. And we are ending up, we're finishing up, right?
Mm-hmm. Water was finished Thursday of last week, so they were packing up, ready to go.
Other than these meters.
Yes.
Yeah, and
They had
it's-
not done, these are called RTUs, return to utility. Anomalies that either were not in the contract or they didn't feel that they could do it or have permission to do it. So our choice is we let these guys do it while they're here and knock it out in a couple of weeks, or we put that back on our short staff and have it drag on until next year.
Yeah, this was the appropriate step to take, and I did spend some time on this because I wanted to argue about it. But in the end, I believe that this is a fair change order and is consistent with what we had approved.
And I was in the office when he was doing his arguing. He did a really good job.
I make a motion to approve the change order.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Any new business needs to come before the city at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to 26, but before we do that, just remember, don't leave, we gotta go back to the PMA, okay? Item 26. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Everybody want to stay here?
She
Oh, yeah, I
Didn't
apologize.
say it loud enough.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. We have to motion to reconvene, yeah?
Yeah. Don't wait like that.
I will. She's got it moving quick. I'm gonna talk a lot.
They usually do.
It's because Bryce wrote so much. Hey, we're only in an hour and 15 minutes, right? An hour and 20.
For the number of items, you're getting a gold star.
Motion to reconvene
So moved.
in the PMA.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, item number 7 that I already read, I will read again. Consider approval of resolution number 2019-01 of the chairman and the board of trustees of the Perry Municipal Authority approving its FYI 19-2020 budget and appropriating the revenues for the stated purposes as contained in the budget, directing the chief financial officer, trust manager, and secretary to take any and all additional actions as may be required for the implementation of this budget. Okay, this is basically the same thing we approved on the city side a while ago.
Numbers for the blanks need to be $11,485,235.
485, 235.
Yes. And for the amount of appropriations, 11
Oh,
million.
that's expenditures.
That was revenues.
That was revenues, okay.
And expenditures, 11,484,785.
Okay.
Suppose we need the same motion as earlier? Trying to remember exactly what I said. Motion to approve with the adjustment on Main Street of 20,000 and, what was the second one?
Museum.
Contract.
Oh, and contract for museum.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you very much. Consider approval of budget amendments for the FYI 2019-2020 budget.
Same as what we talked about a second ago.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call.
Kolar.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. I don't know the proper way to do this, but I want to back up there to 8. Did that say 2018, 2019?
Budget amendments.
Oh, yeah.
I just caught that just as we made the motion.
Yeah, it's the 18-19 budget amendments.
Yeah.
So,
Point of order.
Yeah, that's correct.
I've always wanted to say that, point of order.
Yeah, that's for this year.
Okay, so, I guess our motion will stand, because we didn't state. What are you gonna do?
No, I think it's okay. We've got the budget amendment document that sets out what it actually is.
It's just a misprint on here.
Yeah, it's a Scrivener's error on the,
And the year's correct on the document.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we're good then. Item number 9, any new business need to come before the PMA this evening prior to adjourning? None? Item number 10, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Colburn.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
White. Yes. Schultz.
Yes.